You guys have been asking for it, and I've honestly come to my knees, and here we are. We're going to talk about the best pairings for free-to-play players in the early game for both marchers, and that is going to be mages and archers. We're going to talk about cavalry and infantry as well at the end of the video if that's something you are considering. But you guys have asked for it. Here it is. We're not going to do a tier list. That is going to be a separate video. But I am going to talk about the best choices and pairings for you guys for free-to-play and low spenders in Call of Dragons today. So yes, we're going to be going over all the heroes for you guys when you're free-to-play, low spending, and wondering what pairings we're going to have. Random connection loss, random disconnect for a PC client. First time we've witnessed that on camera. But with all that said, we're going to be covering everything you guys have been asking for. So massive support for you. I hope you guys enjoy it. So I'm not going to drag the intro on. Let's go straight into it. You know to smash the subscribe, like, and comment. So get that out of the way. Hit the notification bell. You know I'm here to help you. So let's go into the best pairings, right? So the way it's going to work is pretty simple. We're going to work from a faction to faction basis. So if you started like me in the Road to Glory series and you actually started out as a Springwarden city or faction, meaning your starting hero is Gwynwyn, you should prioritize in the early game your archer heroes. The reason is for two reasons. Obviously, for your main quest line, you're going to get this Gwynwyn leveled up very easily, as you can see, through the extra 10 heads you get from completing the quests. Also, scouting gives you a load of heads as well towards your main hero. But again, scouting does give you heads towards either Gwynwyn, Waldir, or Bakar. So you can choose in the early game which one you want to go on. So again, depending on your starting faction, this is going to be different. So we're going to go over the Springwardens first. So if you guys are an archer player like me and you've gone through the Springwarden choice, we're going to go over that in the initial section. Then we're going to go over everyone else who probably picked the League of Order and started with Waldir or Walder, the Ice Mage, right? So then we're going to go through all the mage best pairings that you should be focusing on if you've gone through, because in my opinion, if you're a free-to-play player, depending on what your starting faction is, you should try to focus on that set of heroes in the first season, because it's going to help you in the second season use the rewards again to focus on the other heroes you wasn't working on. So my first best free-to-play pairing you should always go for, and it's a very no-brainer if you start as a Springwarden player, is Gwynwyn with Craig. The reason is because Craig you can get super early in the game with the Road to Glory event. So if you complete the Road to Glory event and even just get the first 10 completions, you're going to unlock the Mad Bomber himself. And for that, is insane because you get to start out as a Springwarden faction and get access instantly to 2 marksmen straight away as a pairing that you can be leveling up side by side, as you can see that I've been doing on your march. And together they are a very, very powerful PvE or PvP combo. The reason is Gwynwyn being the premier single target epic archer commander for raiding, you can build her, as we've known through the guides I've done, a pure precision build that allows you to punch out as much single target DPS in a raid as much as possible. And then with your Craig, what you would do is use your talent tree to go in a more PvP focused build. So as you can see, this is all about skill cycling and using skill regeneration as much as possible with counterattack damage that we're going to get as well over here to benefit our march. So we're going to be able to get that mobility as an archer march and use this as our primary commander in PvP. So when you're looking for a beginning investment, you should always get your first commanders to 5-0 before you ever star them up. But as soon as you start Guan Win, you can make her a 5-1-1-1 commander. The reason is you want to invest into these 2 early skills with the pairing to get the maximum amount of damage for you in a raid as well as the PvP. Craig, on the other hand, is a really good hero. You max his first skill and you can optionally do what I've done and go to 5-1-1 and then start leveling up both skills at the same time. Or you could even just go 5-1 and first max out this skill because it does give you 10% hero skill damage. So for an early game investment for you guys free to play, you should always be going for a Guan Win and Craig combo. But you might get lucky, and if you get lucky, guys, again, Nico is a very good option for you to be using maybe in the mid to late game of season 1. The reason is in the early game, unless you get really lucky with gold keys and you can get him to maybe a 4-0 state, he's not going to be doing as much damage as the other commanders. So we're going to keep him down until we get him to a high enough skill level so we can abuse the amount of damage we can pump out with this hero, right? But in the later, like I say, mid to late game, maybe when he's a 5-1-1-1 commander, we are definitely going to be 100% using him as a free-to-play marcher commander, right? But again, if you're a low spender, this is a little bit irrelevant. If you're a low spender and you're an archer player, you're going to get access to Nico as well as Kanara. You might even get access, if you're lucky, to Fear. And Fear is another hero in a low spender arsenal that you're going to be able to use as a marksman, because you're going to be able to run a Nico with a Guan Win as one combo. You can also run your beautiful Craig here with Fear, and that's going to be a nice flying combo with the Wilderberg if you tried the Wilderberg faction out, for example, and you have Kanara left over that you could pair with either maybe the Kanara, the Nico, or even the Craig, because both of these commanders, when you do awaken Craig, is an exceptionally powerful hero in PvP, because he is, again, one of the only marksmen in the game that does AoE damage. And we all know in PvP, AoE is king when it comes to getting merits, and that's why mages are generally the ones to go for. So if we're looking again for low spenders, you've got your Nico and Kanara combo. You also can run a Nico with your Craig, even a Nico plus Guan Win. You can also run a Kanara with your Craig as well, or you can run a Kanara, Nico, Kanara. You pick whichever primary you want. Both are good for different reasons because of the talent trees they have access to, right? So that is all of the best early game investments in the game you should be focusing on if you're an archer player. So I hope I made that clear. You don't really need to be working on anyone else. Your Eleanor is going to be focused on, and she's going to be mentioned at the end of the video, so don't worry. So we're going to obviously talk about her later. So now let's move on to mages, because if you are a League of Order player, you started with Waldir or Walder. So Waldir, Walder, however you want to pronounce his name, he is your starting hero for League of Order. He is one of the best, if not the best, PvP epic hero in the game. He does a phenomenal job at doing AoE damage, as you can see, as well as reducing their attack. He also gives himself that beautiful stat bonus of 20% stats when you max him out. But even more importantly, he gives himself a 15% hero skill damage as a mage, which means whenever you get a mage with him, you can pair him with a load. So a lot of people in the comment section always wonder what to pair Waldir with. Waldir as a primary commander should always be running the skill tree in the early game, because it's the best tree in the game you can be running on him, until maybe later that you might get someone else with the skill tree like Lilia if you're a low spender, and you could transition Waldir into the magic or PvP tree, right? So when we come to pairings though, Waldir has a load of pairings you can pick from. The ones you want to make notes of is Alwyn and Atheus. Depending on obviously which heroes you get lucky on as a free-to-play player, you can see my Atheist is higher because of the gold keys I've got compared to Alwyn. I have focused on a Waldeer Atheist combo. This combo works phenomenally well, again, because you give Waldeer that little bit of rage generation in the kit, as well as single target damage and some stats that you're happy to give a Mage March. But again, with Alwyn is a fantastic hero. We've done a full guide on him recently, so check it out if you've not. But with Waldeer, again, you can do some fantastic tree synergy with the magic tree if you pick Waldeer as the primary hero. And there's a load of continuous damage factor here and stats that all synergize with Waldeer. So again, you can pair Waldeer here with these two epic commanders and get a massive advantage in the open field, as well as Dragon Trials and PvE combat. So when you're looking more into the mid and late game and you've got some gold keys, Valen is the choice for you. If you are a mage player, I would always recommend putting all of your heads into Valen. Valen is going to be one of the best mage heroes in the game for a long time. Not even because of the amount of damage he deals out, it's because of the free passives he gives any mage march in the future of the game. He gives them a 15% hero skill damage bonus and a 20% march speed bonus, which is critical for mage players. Mages are renowned to be the slowest. You boys are turtles out there, and we all know it. But then when you get to the third skill, we have that crit rate bonus and defense rate bonus, and to top it off, we also gain ourselves a 20% magic defense reduction on the target we're fighting, which is just nuts when you complete him with the expertise of extra damage when the target is frozen. And when the target is frozen and you pair this with a Waldeer primary still, he is going to freeze the target, allowing the secondary Valen to pop 400 damage first and then that 1200. So remember that as a little bit of a really nitty-gritty advanced tip for the mages. So if you're a mage march, as a quick summary, you've got Waldeer as your main hero. You're going to be maxing him out slowly through all the main quests anyway, like my Guanwin. Again, if you've picked League of Order, this is what it's going to apply to you. And then once you've done this, you're going to be able to go again down the order of Atheist or Alwyn and transition into a beautiful Valen March. The cool thing is, again, as a mage player, you get access to Fear. So if Fear is a 5-1-1-1 commander, a Fear plus Atheist combo, and you can have either one as a primary commander. You can have Atheist primary for a more damage-orientated march, or a Fear primary commander to have her as a main tank march. So it makes the march a bit more sustained, and it gives Atheist a little bit more extra bang for his buck instantly compared to over the duration of the fight. So again, as a mage player, you get access to Fear. It's another good, really powerful combo you can get as a free-to-play player. So I hope that gives you guys all the information you need to know about archers and mages. And yeah, that should show you what you should be prioritizing. The reason is because if you're wasting any of those heads on random heroes, you're going to be spread out. And when you're spread out, you're not going to have powerful marchers that are going to work together, alright? So that is everything we're going to need to know about the archers and mages. But for you guys that are looking for cavalry marchers, Alistair honestly is a really good hero. He's one of the only cavalry heroes that does AoE. And when you do get Emrys through the gold keys and you get him at a 5-1-1-1 situation, Emrys is a very powerful commander with Alistair, because again, you get that instant AoE shock that hits him as a damage nuke. Or if you're super lucky, you obviously would invest into Bakshi and Emrys to create the best end game cavalry march that does so much damage in the open field and is very unforgiving against the enemy. So they would hate to see this when it props up. If you're an infantry player, one march you should always be using is Eleanor. Eleanor is honestly for infantry players that you're looking for a slot. Eleanor fills this really well. She gives yourself a nice little shield and a bit of damage, but the cool thing is she reduces 30% of normal attack damage, meaning she can run at archers and run them down, meaning, you know, they're not hitting you as hard. 30% is a lot of damage reduction for her, and then when you get that 30% defense bonus when you cast your rage skill and when you awaken her, you get a 7% chance to heal yourself, so you are very sustained heavy. And you can pair her with pretty much most infantry commanders. Even maybe someone like Bakar, even if I call him an F tier hero, you must work with what you have as an infantry player. But for targets, you should go Elena with Garwood for a super insane infantry super healing tank. Or even a Madeline and Elena, or Madeline and Garwood to make your endgame infantry march. So I know I've covered those two more briefly, but the reason why I'm covering it a bit more briefly is as a free-to-play low spender, it is advised for you guys, including myself, to go down the archer and mage route. The reason why is the ranged combat in the game is more beneficial for a free-to-play player compared to rolling the more melee-orientated combat, which is the cavalry and the infantry, because you will get focused down more, and getting focused down more means you're going to need to heal more, and if you're healing more, it means you're running out of resources if you're having to hit those resource pops, right? So that is my guide, guys, my opinion on what you guys should be focusing on so far as a free-to-play and low spender with all the heroes currently in the game. This is obviously me talking as well on my Server 65 account. We're at 2.2 million power, and if you're wondering how many days we've done that in, if we go to the store, we are currently on day 25, and because we're on day 25, we've also hit VIP 8 on day 24, which was a massive achievement for the account. So you can see with all that focusing and on those pairings, it's going to allow us now, as we're entering the mid game for the account when we unlock the T4, we're going to be able to transition these marches that we've used in the early game into maybe a Nico Guanwin march if we get lucky and get that 5111 Nico. So I hope that explains everything, guys, for all the pairings that you would want as a free-to-play player, what you should be investing in. Remember, work with what you've got, and if you work with what you've got, you'll notice your account will work a lot better, and you'll be able to focus on other commanders easier later on in the game. Because remember, your season will restart, and every season is a new experience, and it's going to be a new adventure for you to participate in. So until the next time, guys, subscribe, like and comment, and remember, hit the notification bell and you will know when I go live as well, and any new content will come out. You'll also see it on your feed. But until the next time, guys, stay safe, stay sneaky, and peace out.